Hey guys, it's Brent, and I'm here with Jason.
Hello.
And welcome to the Jumpstart Your Social Life mini seminar. So today we're going to go over on video.
Yes.
The stuff that we've done some stuff on audio, but we wanted to kind of go over it and get more in depth and then answer some questions and things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, I think that building a social life is, you can think about it as a hub. And I think building a great social life is really all about that, and everything else is spokes on it. I know some people try to take a look at some aspect of the social life, like meeting women as the hub, but you need to replace that in a different place, because building a great social life is about creating a better network of people around you. It's being more successful in business. It's giving you more opportunities in life. It's having closer relationships with family members, with friends. I mean, it's all these things encompassing in that, and they're all spokes coming out of the hub. So it's important to start thinking about that and creating a great social life. And then you'll be able to move on to different levels and build off that social life over, and it'll come into every area of your life.
Yeah, I think no matter what your goals are, being social is very important. Even if you say that you're not social, or you don't want to be social, or I'm an introvert, or whatever, you've really just created that identity. And even if your goal is that, you just want to be able to meet a few people or meet a woman here and there, but you just want to walk into a bar and kind of sit down at the bar and not do much work at all, this is still applicable. And the confidence that comes from knowing that at any moment you could be social is really big time.
Yes.
Even if you don't always do it, knowing that you can
is really critical.
Is really critical.
It's really important. And a lot of the thing starts from doing some inner work and figuring out, okay, what is it that you want, right? I think by having a purpose, it's much better. If you sit down and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I'd really love to meet more people, or I'd rather meet more women, or I'd rather have better connections in my life with people. It's good to have those goals. It's good to have those goals. I mean, don't be attached to the goals, but it's good to have some purpose of you're trying to do it, because then you can kind of work on those areas more and create affirmations, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I like starting from that point, because when I first started my journey, I was like, I want to build a great social life. And I was like, well, how can I do this as quick as possible? And I sat down and started thinking about things I could do, and then just started doing them at the same time, and then worked on the inner work as well as going out. And I went out a lot too, but I did both sides of it and figured out kind of what I want.
Yeah, you're doing it. That's for sure.
So one of the things I think we can talk about is doing the affirmations, because a lot of people always have questions on this, and I know that people will have stuff on the forum all the time about, how do you do the affirmations, how do you make them work? And so, I like to pick, only a couple affirmations. I know some guys are writing like paragraphs and books, and I'm like, one thing I found is that if you keep it to a few things, you can manifest it a lot quicker, because you're focusing on those three. And, I like to write out, but my story, even if I write it out, because sometimes it's helpful to write it out because people can think it, I don't read it, because I think a lot of guys are having problems because they're reading their stories and they're not visualizing and being in the moment and really thinking it and feeling it. Because I think the great thing about affirmations, and, when I talked to Brent about doing that, was you need to feel the affirmation. When I read my affirmations, I get excited about it. Like I'm sitting there at home and I'm like ready to like jump out of my shell. I'm ready to go. And that's how you need to feel it. And so I write down the affirmations, and then I visualize it in my head actually being in the place, right? So I'll visualize going out to Hotel Zaza and walking around and introducing people and actually being the mayor, right? So one of my affirmations at some point was being the mayor. And I visualize going to the places that I go to and actually doing the things in process. And it really helped it, because then I got excited about it, and then I also put myself in the place when I was actually there, I was doing it. So it was almost like I was there before and actually had done it, and it helped get over a lot of social anxiety or any issues that you have with each of the affirmations. And visualizing is really important, because I didn't do that before, and I just read them, and I realized reading them isn't putting yourself in there and feeling it. And if you do that, you'll manifest this a lot quicker, things will happen, and then you'll do stuff like today when we were talking about where we're going to go tonight, right? We said we're going to go to Winston's, right? So we went to Party City, and what happened? So Brent ran in some girls, talked to them, and had a conversation, whatever. So we ran on them as we were checking out, of course, again. And I asked them, okay, so what are you doing? They said they're going to a birthday party, and I was like, where are you going afterwards? Winston's, right? So of course, right, they would only go to Winston's. Well, the point of that is that when you get to the point where you start manifesting, you can manifest this like this, right? And people don't believe it, but everyone who was there saw it. You heard the story, you've seen it. I mean, we told other stories about this weekend about people we met the last time we were here, And like last night too, one of the owners of nightclub, right, hasn't texted me in 6 months. What are the chances that he texts me on that last night, the only night we had available this entire weekend, and that Brent was in town and we met him 3 or 4 years ago? Actually, we met him right around this time too.
Yep.
So, this stuff happens in the moment. So I think you need to, that's the easiest way to do the affirmations and the way they're most effective, I've found. And
yeah, the visualization is really important. As you said, you didn't do it before, but it's because you've already done it. If you're visualizing, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and fake. It just thinks it's happening. So if you visualize it, you've already done it. Many people visualize. Sports people, the whole athletes, visualize every shot before they hit it, and they've done it before. You've played it before. You've been out before. You've been the mayor before. Very, very important. And getting excited, getting emotional about it, getting that feeling of, happiness and excitement and, taking over and all that kind of stuff when you're telling yourself the affirmations or weaving it into your story or however you're doing it. Very powerful.
Yeah.
And when you roll around in that state, to add to what you were saying earlier, we were talking about it in the car. When you roll around in this constant state of just this next level guy that we talk about, being, this guy, is that things just are waiting to happen to you at every turn. I don't care whether it's Party City, we could have gone to Target or anywhere else, and I would have ran into some girls in an aisle somewhere and said something stupid like, she was pushing a cart with party stuff in it. So I said, well, where's your party? Or what kind of party are you throwing? Something stupid like that. And then we started this big conversation about the weekend, and they're coming to our party tomorrow night, our Mardi Gras party, and so on. So you roll around in that state, and to most guys that seems absolutely impossible. Like, what are the odds that stuff like that would happen? But when you have this state of mind, you draw people to you everywhere you go. So no matter where you go, it's always the right place. That's, I think, the point of that is that all your decisions are good ones. So you don't have to worry about your decisions anymore.
Yes.
If you go to Party City or Target, or you decide to not go to both those places, but you decide to go get a drink at some other place, Primo's or whatever, it'll happen there. So it'll happen. It's always happening to you. It's always waiting to happen wherever you show up.
Yep.
You're the instigator. You're the inspirator when you show up. And we could just hang out in Party City, by the way. We could just hang out there all day and just meet people, talk to girls who are filling carts full of party stuff and invite them to the party. And I mean, you could just like we were at the liquor store yesterday.
Yeah.
We could stand at that little bar they have in the liquor store and just meet people and get them over for shots every time they walk in that store. You can do it for 3 hours and you meet, 50 new people in an afternoon. More than most people ever meet.
Ever.
Sometimes a whole year if you're not social.
Yeah.
We do it in a day. Awesome.
It's amazing.
It's next level stuff. So hopefully it inspires you, but it's just amazing, and I'm glad that everyone's kind of around to see this.
Yes.
To see it happen.
The other thing too with affirmations is be really specific, right? So I know this other problem some of these guys have is that, or anyone doing the affirmations do, is that they're saying, "Oh, I want more women to come in my life."
All girls dig me.
Yeah,
all girls.
All girls. And the important thing is then you're going to get some of the ones you don't want, right? If you say all beautiful women, then that's what you're going to get. So you need to be careful.
All women that are exactly my type.
Exactly.
Which are, petite, brunette, strong, sane, smart, long legs, whatever it is that floats your boat. And so, so you will end up wasting a lot of time on with people you don't want to attract. And not that there are bad people or anything. I'm just saying that you will prove to yourself that affirmations and story works faster if you're more specific, because you'll see the evidence faster. If all girls dig you, what does that mean? Right? We joke about saying that, all girls dig me, we kind of joke about it. But if all girls did dig you, then what? How do you know that? Where's the evidence? Are they just all staring at you? Are they all looking over and smiling? What are they doing? So give them an action.
Yes.
What is supposed to happen next? Super hot, blondes who look like strippers, who are 22, with this kind of body, they dig me. And so what they do is they come over to wherever I'm at, they approach me, and then they say X, Y, Z, and then we go and do something. So give it an action and be very specific. So that's a good point.
Yep. And then also on the frequency of it, I usually do them in the morning and at night. I mean, I think that you can do them more, and I think that it can be beneficial. I just spend my time doing it that way because I'm manifesting all the time. So I just, I get up right when I get up, I do them, and I spend, a few minutes doing them. I don't spend very long, usually like 2 to 3 minutes, and I just, do the same way we're talking about it, and then at night I do it, or at some point, either before I go to bed, or I do it maybe when I'm getting ready to go out. I'll think about that as well as what I'm doing for the night going out. That's another powerful thing is before you go out, start visualizing your night, right? Get excited about your night. I mean, wherever you're going to go, even if you've never been there before, start visualizing having a great time and cheersing people and saying people, how's everything? And you're walking in and you can feel the energy start to rise, and let's get this party started and get yourself excited for it, because it's a really important part of this, because you'll start seeing it, because you're going to see the evidence, because the more excited you are, the more excited people get, because energy is just, it flows through people, and people just get more excited when they people around them that have more energy.
Yeah, they're inspired by you, because most people aren't like that. So most people aren't social. They're kind of in little groups or whatever, and you saw those guys last night. They're just walking around looking for targets. They're not bad guys or anything. They just don't know what they don't know. And how would you like to feel like that? And their visualization is always, God, I hope we get some chicks tonight, man. And if we don't, what does that mean about us? Oh, man, I'm going to need to get some chicks. Right? Like, that's their whole life is like that, which is sad. They just don't know.
They know.
And it's exhausting, rather than just going out and inspiring everybody. Helping and inspiring is not exhausting. It's exhilarating. It gives you even more energy.
Yes.
And as you can see, whenever we do walk in a place, even if we're in a group, people turn and look. Because we actually, every time we walk into a place, we act like we own it. Like we've been there before. That's another great little thing that we'll cover. But it's like, no matter where you are, pretend you've been there before. Act like you're supposed to be there. Act like you're the manager or the owner. How would he act, right? So when you see us going, hey, what's up? How you doing? How's the mushroom sauce? Yeah, good. Okay, cool. You got everything good. It's like that's what the manager would do. That's what the owner of the nightclub or the bar or the restaurant would do, checking on people, say, what's up? Oh, you guys want some champagne? Great, we've got some dollar champagne. Let's get 20 glasses and bring it over here. You're just like, you're ordering people around almost. And, you're using your hands, and it's very exciting for people because they're not like that. And they don't really want to be sometimes. They're like, I just want to sit here and not do much work. And then we come in and we just start, building everything into everybody. We start building on that. Frenzy, yeah.
Yeah, because you're really the unofficial social host everywhere you go, right? And you should be thinking like that. Mm-hmm. Every time you walk in a place. I mean, sometimes I'll go walk in a place and I'll be like cheersing people up champagne, and I'll say, welcome to this place. I'm the unofficial social host, and I'll crack a joke about it, and people will laugh and they'll think it's funny, but I just do it sometimes because it's fun.
So it's important to visualize that.
Yeah.
Tell yourself that should be in your story, visualization. And then you'll feel a lot more comfortable actually doing it, or actually not, because now you won't be tempted as much to go out and just stand at the bar, and look around like this. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that, if you want to meet more people, if you visualize yourself already turning to someone at the bar and saying, how's everything? Whether it's a guy or a girl, and just making a new friend and starting the party from there, or let's get this party started.
It's great.
It's powerful.
Well, we should probably talk about some principles and stuff like this that,
Sure.
I think people should really take in consideration on here. One of them that I talk a lot about, and one of the things that was really turned my life around when I talk to Brent, is more the give to give philosophy, and really being out with people and always be giving to people without wanting things back in return. Because if you really take a look at, almost everyone just goes out all the time and takes. Every interaction is I'm taking from someone, I'm doing something to get something from it. And that, everyone knows it around you. And people, communication is nonverbal. People see through what you're doing all the time. And you want to try to be the guy that does what 99.9% of guys don't do and can't ever do, is really be able to give people unconditionally and be out there helping people and saying, and throwing parties, throwing events and doing stuff. Introducing people is a great way to give, because you're just hooking two people up. And it's easy as going to a bar. You don't even know anyone. You just go to a bar, two people on your left, say, hi, Bob. Next person on your left, say, hi, Sally, and saying, hey, Bob, do you know Sally? And they were probably sitting next to each other and never even said hi. Like, oh, no, never met him. I'm like, oh, why don't you guys meet each other? And
it's amazing how many times I do that, and people are sitting pretty much right next to each other, and they haven't spoken to each other at all. And when you introduce them, it's like, great. They have a great time. They're enjoying each other's company. but they never would have thought to turn and say hello to that person, or even just a passing comment. They don't speak at all. It's like they stay by themselves or stay in this little thing, and it's helping them. It really is, and that is amazing, because you can go out by yourself and do that, right? By yourself. You don't have to know anyone you're introducing. Again, hey, how's everything? What's going on? Oh, my name's Brent. Oh, hey, Bob, whatever. And then you turn and start talking to someone else, and then introduce them. And you can do that all within like 2 minutes.
And it's great because
And then you just start doing it over, and then more people come, and you introduce them, and now you have this big group around you, and you're by yourself, and you didn't know anyone. And within half an hour, we've built it sometimes into 20 or 30 people around the bar, drinking champagne, going crazy, middle of the afternoon at a champagne, having champagne inside of a department store.
And
you can do it anywhere, right? Anywhere. People
anytime.
are waiting to be inspired, and they're waiting to live a fun life. They just don't know how, and they don't know anyone who does it, and they don't want to be the one that takes the lead. They don't want to take the risk. They want someone else to do it for them, but they're waiting. They're ready. They just need someone to come up and say, it's okay to have fun. It's okay to talk to this person over here and meet them. You don't have to be scared anymore. It's okay to have a glass of champagne and let off some steam. It's okay that you don't like your job. Just fucking have a couple cocktails. No, it doesn't hurt anything. Yeah, come on, live.
And you're saying it to them without wanting. You don't have an agenda by saying it. You're saying it just to have fun, to enjoy themselves, to meet someone, to do this. Not because of this, or this, or anything else. It's just you can meet this person, period, right? You don't have to worry about your job, period. And I think that's the difference, and you have to start thinking through these things.
And when you do that, when you show up with that vibe of I'm carefree, and for the sake of a better description, I don't want anything from you, they feel it, they know it. And that's even more powerful and more intriguing to them. They're intrigued. Like, wait a second, what? I don't understand. What is he after? What does he want? He doesn't want anything. That's odd, but inspiring, awesome. This guy's just introducing people and having fun. I mean, I don't even see him hitting on anyone. What is going on? It's awesome. It's so powerful.
Yeah. People can't understand that. It's just like last night we were, at Aura. I mean, the guy owns a nightclub. I mean, it's a great, he always asks me to come, and he'll buy me drinks, and I'll be like, oh, no, it's fine, or offer to get me bottles or do whatever, and I never take them. I've never taken up on one time. And I mean, there's no one out there that would have not done it, right? So when people walk in, they're always doing stuff for him. They're not offering to buy him shots. I go in there, and I was just like, well, let's go get him something. He's like, oh, can I get you something to drink? I'm like, no, I'm going to get you something to drink. And, that was just something that I go up and do all the time, because you set a precedent that you will do something different, and you're not a taker. And immediately that sets someone else that wants to actually give you more and give you unconditionally, because they know that you'll give to them unconditionally. And that is a rare relationship. And what you can do is have that in every interaction you have. Not just with, like, people might have it with their parents or sibling or something else that they might do that. And even most of those aren't like that. But you create it in every little action. You create it with the barista at Starbucks. In that one little interaction, they know that what you're all about at that point, because you'll ask them about their day. It's amazing when I go out, how many times I'll ask people, hey, what's up? How's your day? How's everything? And they'll tell me about some bad experience, and they'll get it off their chest, and immediately someone just wants to have a voice. And I'm practicing a lot of being give to give is giving people a voice. It's giving them an opportunity to vent. It's giving them an opportunity for someone to listen to them, really. Most people no one really listens. They hear, but they don't listen. So this is a really important thing to do, and it will dramatically change everything in your life and everything going on. But you have to start practicing it in small ways. Introducing people to people and then walking away is great. You can buy people a drink at the bar and then just give into a guy and just walk away. Because then if you walk away, it's powerful, because you can't get anything from it, because the interaction is gone and you won't see this person and nothing will happen. So a lot of this is give to give is not something that you can just flip a switch on, but you got to do small little things in your life by doing it. I started to throw charity parties, and the reason I did was I love being social, but there was nothing for me to get from it. Yeah, I can meet more people, but the reality is was raising money for causes and people to help other people that I never got credit for. No one goes on these invitations and writes, thanks, Jason, for doing it. Now, the people that run it know it, but no one advertises that. I never tell the people under. I'll go on Facebook and forward the invite out to 1,000 or 2,000 people. I don't tell them. I don't ask them, do you want me to do this? I just do it on my own. Because if I ask them, that's sort of leading them saying, oh yeah, that'd be great, thanks a lot. Then you're expecting a thanks or something in return. I just do it and don't even tell them, and I just show up. And now people know, because they ask who invited them, but I don't tell them that. And so these are small things that you can start doing to build this so every interaction is like this in your life.
Yeah, and if you find have any fear around that of talking to strangers and even asking a stranger how their day is, I know that some people have a lot of fear around that. Start with people who work at places. They're less scary to talk to. The girl downstairs when you walk into the bar, she's just standing there, hey, how's your day? I bet no one says that to her. She probably hears, where's my table ready? How come my table, how long do I have to wait? She gets complained to all the time. Same thing, we always talk, you guys hear us talk to the bartender. These are easy people to talk to, the door guy, the concierge at the hotel. They love being asked about, hey, how's your family? If you know them, right? So the guy the downstairs that I remembered, he remembered me from last time I was here. And I had remembered that he had family, and I asked about his family and how's Alabama or whatever, and he was like, man, that's awesome, thanks for asking. No one says anything like that. So it's less scary to talk to people at workplaces, probably. If you want to start there, that's an easy way. So every time we're going into a nightclub, every time you're going into, like when we went to Dram last night, Andrew, I still remember his name, right? He greeted us at the front. I shook his hand, said, cool, shook it on the way out. See you soon, see you next time, whatever. Those are little habits that you will create, that will create a long-term habit if you just get into that ritual of doing it. Just small things, It's not scary to talk to a guy who's greeting you into his restaurant, right? That's not scary. You just, hey, what's up? So you start there, and then once you get in the habit of doing that, you can do it with anyone. The person standing next to you is no different than the door guy or the bartender. It's the same thing because you've now trained yourself to speak up and ask people how their day is, and something really simple. How's your night going? Right? How's your weekend? What's going on? Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Thursday. I say that all the time. Happy Thursday, happy Friday, happy Saturday. I'm telling you, that alone, happy whatever day it is amazing. I say it all the time. I was saying it last weekend at the pool, right? And girls walk by. Oh yeah, happy Saturday. Oh, what's up? And come right over, start talking. And they just start talking.
Yeah.
And I didn't really say much after that. Cheers. Just raise my glass and cheers. Don't even get up from my seat. And people are like, wow, that's cool. They love it because they would never do it.
Never.
They would never do it. And so my point is that you could start with the staff. It's a really easy thing to do everywhere you go. When we're at a restaurant today, you could have talked to the hostess girl and say, hey, what's going on? How's it going? How's business today? How's your day going? What, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just chit chat. Yeah.
They want to talk about pursuing and outcomes. I think that's a question that comes up a lot from people on kind of how to do that. It's maybe.
Okay. Yeah, you can just start with it and we'll just kind of.
Sure. I think that one of the things that when you go out, most people have these problems of being attached to the outcome. So people go out and, they're thinking, what can I get from someone? And they're thinking about the end state all the time. And they're like, oh, if I go out and I don't, hook up with a girl or I don't do this or that, this night's a total wash.
Right, there's no point to it.
There's no point to it.
They don't think of going out as having a good time. It's never having a good time. It's hopefully I'll have a good time, but having a good time would mean that I would hook up with some girl or get a phone number or something stupid like that we used to do.
Yes.
Or have some girl like me or be acknowledged or, all that kind of like irrelevant stuff. But I know guys are still doing it.
Yes. And I think that's something that you got to kind of rid of yourself in your life. Just be out there and have a good time and look at life as opportunities all the time and don't look at the end states. Just enjoy being there because the end will take care of itself anyway. So if you're on a good path and you're incorporating all these great philosophies in your life and things that are a part of you, great things are going to happen. I never go out and say to myself, well, I hope I have a great night, right?
Life goes fast, and sometimes it's very short, okay? For some people, it's very short.
Very.
So make the most of it. When I'm traveling the world, I think, wow, if I wasn't present, this is an awesome experience. And if I wasn't present, and I was just honed in on, I got to get something, and it would be over immediately, right? It's over, and then I don't even remember how great the experience was. I don't, if I'm in the south of France or whatever, and this is a great view, it's a great ocean, these people are, it's an awesome ambiance, this is a cool place to be at, these people are awesome. If I was just honed in on what can I get out of this?
Yeah.
You don't live. You don't experience things. It's just like a blur.
Yep.
And it's exhausting.
It's very exhausting. And that's the other thing too, is really going on happiness, which is another really thing that I know is a fantastic, thing to talk about, is that, we live in a world where everyone, since they've been a small child, has been told to get validation outside themselves, right? You find happiness because you did well in school, you have a bigger car, you have a bigger house, you have more money, you have a more beautiful wife or husband or whatever it is, and you go through this always wanting something outside yourself to make you happy. You're not in a natural state of happiness, which really you can be. And I think it's really important to be happy with yourself, sitting in your house by yourself and feeling happy, not needing to go out to meet people and be around them to give you happiness. And that's a really tough thing for most people to do, and that's why they're never happy, because they're always looking for the next thing to validate them outside themselves. And if they don't get it, then they don't have the validation. But why not live a life where you're happy all the time? And it's something really important to sort of incorporate, as you're doing.
It's about balance too. You don't want to sit on the couch your whole life and do nothing, obviously. But it's about balance. So It's about whether you are sitting on the couch because you just feel like you're laying on the couch watching TV, that's fine. Just be happy doing that and own that. And then if you decide one night to meet some friends out for happy hour, then go out and own that and have fun doing that. Be happy either way, not either or not only if I go out and only if I meet a bunch of chicks and so on. So that is connected to what we were just talking about giving up pursuing and giving up those outcomes and being more carefree. Again, I mean, the thing that really, I would say that drives me, is really inspiring people. I'm not attached to it, right? I'm carefree about inspiring them, but I love it because it's like every person who comes in contact with you, their life is somehow, you leave them better than you found them. And again, I'm not attached to it. I just am it, and we are it, and all you guys who follow it are it. And it's exhilarating. That's why we have so much energy, because we're trying to get something and being afraid that you're not going to get it is draining. Right? And then worrying about it. It's mental energy, and it's mostly mental, right? So it's not even physical energy that when guys say, I'm really tired, they're tired of worrying and thinking and then getting down on themselves and wondering why it's not happening to them and why they can't get something that they think they need. And that is exhausting. That drains you faster than anything. And that's why sometimes if you're out and you're really trying to get at the end of the night, you're just like, man, I'm tired. Because you're on this hamster wheel. You're never really going anywhere, but you keep moving. And your head it just won't stop. The thinking won't stop. Rather than just letting it all go, and being carefree about it, and seeing what manifests, which will be everything great.
Yep. Another thing too that talk about is limiting beliefs too, because I know that a lot of people just say, well, I can't do this, or this isn't possible, or how could you possibly come to Dallas and have more than almost 5,000 friends on Facebook? There's no way you could have ever done that, right? I mean, I've had people tell me this all the time. There's no way this would be possible. I mean, there's no way this weekend that we could throw a party here at Zaza and have several hundred people come, and most of them women. How could that be possible? Who would come to that? And every time you think in your head, the reality is that the only thing that limits you is you. And you need to take off the blinders and take away any limits on your mind and say, it's all possible if you believe it. You can make it all happen. You can manifest anything that you want in your life. Most people just live a life of resistance. And they say, oh, it's not possible. Well, then of course it's not going to be possible because you'll never get it. Because even if you did get it, you'd push it away because then you'd have to tell yourself, oh, it's possible now. And most people can't admit that when they're wrong. Or they can't admit maybe this actually could be working. Yeah. So it's a huge, and that's a huge issue, They'd rather be right than happy. And, especially when it comes around limiting beliefs. And it's something I've found all the time and something that,
Yeah, and people spend an enormous amount of time keeping things that are simple complicated. We talk about it all the time.
It's all about
back to complication. When it's too simple, let's go back and complicate it some more because I spend all my time on the complicated problems and issues and things that are hard to do. Right? And if you didn't do that anymore, what would you do with that time? And I think that scares some people too. What would you do with all the extra time you now spend worrying and trying to make something more complicated and drawing drama into your life?
Yeah.
And you're on autopilot. You're not a bad person. That's how you're programmed. Right? We just talked like the guy we were talking about who was waiting for the 3 chicks because he was picking them up and his car got towed, and $800 later or whatever. See, even if you tell him that it's simple, he immediately will not listen to you because he's got to make it more complicated. He doesn't even want to just show up at the game and tell the girls to meet him there and then make it simple. He wants to work for it because he's been taught that he's got to work for it. It's got to be difficult because then when he calls his buddy tomorrow and tells him the story, the story will be fantastic. Well, up until the last minute, she didn't even want me, but then, right? Okay. See, that's a great story, right? We grow up trying to one-up each other. Who's the king this week? Oh, yeah, I got a better story for you, man. That's cool. That's how we grow up, right? Nothing wrong with you. But that's what defeats us because we always trying to one-up the other guy and compete. And friendly competition is fun and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But we take it to heart and we live that way.
Yes.
And then the more complicated it is, we just are thinking about the payoff. Yeah, this is complicated now, and I'm out $800, and I am totally over pursuing. But when she succumbs to my power, the story, I'm going to be able to call Jason and go, dude, you won't believe it, man.
What a great night. Instead of the night that says, yeah, we just hooked up, right?
Yeah, I walked into a place, some girl walked over to me and she said, do you want to go up to the room and have sex right now? All right. See, that's not a very exciting story to most guys, but that's the one you should want to tell. We've got to change the way we think about this stuff. That's the story you should want to tell. So it's related to what we were just saying about what you were just talking about. About limiting beliefs, right? Even if you were shown right in front of you how simple it is, your belief system is that, well, now you're going through the list of reasons why it worked right there. You saw it, but there's a reason why. And there's like 9 different reasons why I could not do that.
Yes.
But you can do it clearly. So you'll see me do it, and you'll say, yeah, well, but you're Brent, you've been doing this for a long time, blah, blah, blah. Look at your blazer you have on, all this kind of crap, right? And there's some resistance. Well, you could even watch Jason do it, and there will still be some resistance. The automatic pilot thing takes you to, well, yeah, but Jason has 5,000 friends. You don't even think about what happened. It's like, oh, well, yeah, he could do it. So you just keep playing this game of let's complicate it, let's have a limiting belief, here's why I can't do it, here are all the 18,000 excuses I have this week for why I can't have this extraordinary life. Instead of just living it, give it up and live it. Run into the light, as we say. Run into the light.
Yeah. One thing, the next thing I want to talk about is, where do you go out to meet people? Because people come up with this question, okay, how do I really build a social life quickly and how do I do this? Well, I mean, the first thing is you can meet people anywhere. And to think that you just have to go, a lot of people think, oh, I just have to go out at night. Like I'm going to go out to a bar, a restaurant, a lounge, and that's where I meet people. But you can meet people at Starbucks. You can meet people at the laundromat. You can meet people at the grocery store. You can meet people anywhere. You should be talking to people everywhere you go because you don't know what interaction is going to really mean something for you. We always say that, you're one interaction away from getting everything that you want. You just don't know what interaction that is. So you need to take advantage of everything when you're out all the time and doing it.
Yeah, speak up. Speak up at Party City. Speak up at the coffee store. Speak up when you're at Condoms to Go.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever you're doing. It gets really disturbing.
It is very distrubing.
So you got to speak up wherever you're at because you never know, who that person is. And clearly you guys saw already this that speaking to men as well as women is extremely important because you'll even have more women in your life because they'll want to give them to you. Not that that's what it's about, but that was a byproduct of this way of being. So when you speak up and if there's a couple guys there and you're buying drinks, buy the guys a drink too. It never happens to them, I guarantee you. Only their good buddies do that. Strangers don't do that.
Yeah. Because most of the time when people are out and guys are out, they'll want to talk to women. And, the question comes up, well, how do I do to disarm guys? A recent question I got, and someone actually emailed in this, how do I disarm guys? Or how do I go in a group with men and women? And I'm like, well, just talk to them. But guys are always thinking, well, how do I get through the guys to get to the women? I'm like, you don't. You just include everyone together.
Yeah.
And then the girls follow you because they're like, that's a cool guy. A guy who talks to another guy and includes them is a cool guy. And it's even easier for you, and you don't need to do anything. And you do the same thing.
And sometimes, you don't often know what the real relationship of the guy and the girls is. One could be your brother, it could be a friend, an old boy. I don't know what, and I don't even assume. That's why I include everybody. And also, it's good to have guys in your corner, Instead of being your adversary, it's good to have them on your team. And a lot of times, that's what'll happen. Yes. I've had guys stand next to me and say, you know what? Yeah, you should go for it. That girl really likes you, And this is a guy who was talking to these girls. So kind of, it's a next level. because you're including everybody.
Yeah, and
So
no
it's
one
very
does that.
important. No one does it.
No one does that. They always look at it as like, again, in this sort of give to take mentality, how do I get the guys out of the way to get to the girls? But when you don't care and you're living a carefree life, that you're including people and you're having fun right now, no matter what happens later, doesn't matter, you'll have fun then, you have a much better time and you include everyone in your fun. And then everyone loves it.
We have some flight attendants coming to the party tomorrow night because I spoke to them on the plane. And that's, really,
How many people do that?
I just poked my head into the galley and said, "What's going on back here?" That's all I said. And then we started a little conversation, and then I went back to my seat, and that's where the free drinks start coming in and the whole stuff. So you just talk to people everywhere, in the seat next to you or whatever. Just short conversations, nothing crazy and long, but just nice. I mean, it's amazing when you open your mouth. We talked about before that. Even when I'll be traveling with friends of mine, Mitch or whatever, and I will be actually taking some downtime, and they're still talking to people. I'm like, "How are you doing that, man? I'm tired right now. I need an hour of sleep, rest my voice." And now and then I hear bantering going on, over here, and talking to a flight attendant. He's in the galley. He's back drinking wine with some chick in some seat, and it's up in first class. They're making him. He's in there, and they're all making cookies, and it's crazy. And then of course they're trying to hook up with us later or whatever. It's amazing.
Amazing.
So can't say it enough. Talk to people, speak up anywhere you're at. It doesn't have to be a sexy place in order to meet people. Really, seriously, Party City, okay, can be a sexy place, but it's you don't even think of it as, "Oh, I'm going to Party City. I'm going to get this done. I'm all serious about it." And we are serious in there because we know what we're doing. But along the way, you find people to talk to.
Why not take an opportunity?
Take an opportunity. It's again, you just stay in practice.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, stay in practice. It's the habit, just like you do in your inner game. You're in the habit of telling yourself your story every day and visualizing, and after a while, you just do it automatically. Same thing with talking to people.
Yep.
If you spoke to everyone that you saw, at least, "Hi, what's up? How you doing? How's your day? Happy Friday." After a while, you can imagine, right? You would just do it all the time. And it wouldn't matter who it was. Hot girl, great, average looking girl, guy, whatever. You just say hi to everybody, and that's the way to roll around the world.
Yeah.
Really. And I think another thing I want to mention before I forget, in case we don't cover it, but it's when you roll around with this vibe, and when you are open to talking to men and anywhere and people anywhere, people remember you. You make quite an impression.
Yep.
That's why that I can go back to a place 3 years later and people will still remember me. And I'm not saying that, from a conceited place. I'm just saying that that's the impact. It happens to all my friends too. That's the impact. If they don't see you for 3 years, you made such an impression in the 10 minutes that you talked, or the evening, or the buying them a drink or whatever. So you make such an impression that they remember you and they're happy to see you. And it's crazy, right?
Yes. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's the next level, totally. So anyway.
It's great. So, the other place too, because people always ask the question, well, how can I build a social life really quickly? How can I meet a lot of people really fast? And so, something I did a few years ago was I realized that there is a gold mine that people never use. And so it always takes them so much longer to go meet people, and that's going to events, right? Events are a wonderful place. Especially like charity events, or even going to events at like a museum or stuff like that, where there are people, like-minded people, young professionals out there. They want to meet people. Their defenses are lowered, so literally they will talk to anyone. And you can work a room so much easier because people all go there because they want to meet people. No one goes to an event because they're unhappy or grumpy or had a bad day. Almost no one does, at least. And people want to interact with people, and so it's a great opportunity there to go talk and meet people, practice a lot of the stuff you're doing here. And the great thing about charity events too is that there are, they only last usually for an hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours. So you have a very low amount of time. They're usually 6 to 8, 7 to 9, sometime that you could go anytime during the week, and you could be home by 9 or 10. You could even go there for 30 minutes and you could meet 15 or 20 people. It's short conversations, and it's a great way to start doing this. And you can see if you went to a couple of charity events, every week, and you met 15 or 20 people, think about that. In a month, you'd meet almost 250 people that you didn't know. And the great thing about it is that these charity events usually happen every month or every other month. So you now have a reason that you will meet a lot of these people 6 to 10 to 12 times in a year. And so all these people will know you because having these short, frequent interactions with them will make it memorable with you, and you'll share information that you want, and you'll have a good time. And a lot of these people are influential, they're wealthy, they're movers and shakers, they're people that do stuff. And so now you're meeting people that are controlling everything around you in some form or fashion, and that can open the keys and unlock so many things that you never thought were possible that you could do just by having relationships with them and just saying, how's everything? What's going on? And it's really easy because most people there won't turn their back. They'll have a conversation with you in doing it. And so it's a fantastic way. And then you'll see those people out as well. And then they'll introduce you to their friends when you're out. So now it's not that you just met 250 people. All those people have an entirely huge group of friends that now if you go out and see them, they'll introduce you because you can say to them, hey, it was great seeing you the other night at XYZ event, right? And they'll be like, oh, great, yeah, how are you doing? And why don't you meet my friends? And so now you meet all these people. So now you have outlets to go out where you're running across all these people. You're seeing them over and over again. So they in the back of your mind, they know you and you're creating friendships with them on some level because most people they want to latch on to any great thing with energy and vibe. And so they'll immediately take you and consider them friends, even if you don't. And I always thought this was really interesting. I've seen people, especially at events like this, several times, and I maybe talked to some people like 15 minutes. And if I told you how many times people will introduce me and say, hey, this is my friend Jason, he's a great guy. Okay, how does someone know I'm a great guy after 15 minutes of like talking to me, right? But this happens all the time. So you can create these relationships where people will be your advocates, they'll like you and do it in the smallest amount of time possible. So I love going to these events because I just think it's easier. And then guys always say, well, I don't have enough time. I can't go out that much. And there's all these resistance points. Well, how am I ever going to meet that many people? I'm like, well, here's a great way. I mean, a lot of these events have 100, 200 people. If you went for 2 hours, imagine you can meet at least half the people in the room. There's no way that in 2 hours you can't walk around the room and meet half the people, even if there's 100 or 200 people there. Just imagine that in one night if you meet 100 people. When's the last time you know anyone that's met 100 people in one night? I mean, I do it all the time, but I mean, anyone can do this. You can be introverted, you can be shy, you can be really awkward and never talk to women. And these events, people's resistance are so low and their defenses are down that they're willing to talk to anyone. And they're willing to talk about anything. And all you do is walk around the room, ask them some questions, how are things going, what's up, and that's it. And they'll take the conversation from there. And then they'll tell you also where to go and what to do, because most of these people are involved in multiple charity events. You can say, I'm just getting out, I'm starting to meet some new people, I've been really busy before, what are some places that you'd recommend that I go, or places that I should do stuff at? Well, you know what? They'll tell you. And so then you can get recommendations on all these things to do. You can even get recommendations on restaurants. You could get recommendations on trips. You could get recommendations on so many things because people love to recommend stuff too. That's the other thing. When you put people in a power, you make them feel like an expert. And people love feeling like they're experts and they're smart. And that's the easiest way to ask a recommendation question. And I do that all the time when I first moved here because I didn't know all the charity events because there's no index of them. There's no place where someone's going to say, oh, go to all these. You have to go out there and do some exploration. So it takes a little bit of time, but you can find most of these on Facebook. A lot of them are on Facebook, some through Google, and then just talking to people and word of mouth and going out there and asking people, what are you involved in? What do you do in the community? And most people will tell you. You can look in lifestyle publications, higher end ones too, because a lot of times they'll have an index in the back that'll say, okay, what are the big events? And you can do this and you can build a great social life and never go out another Friday or Saturday. In fact, I'm positive of that. In fact, I know that if you go out to charity events and you went out to 2 or 3 in 1 month, you meet more people than you would the rest of the year. And in 1 year, you could meet, if you met 250 people a month, in 1 year, you could meet, looking at people you meet, you must 3,000 people. Think of that, 3,000 new Facebook friends you could have at that point on there, or 3,000 new acquaintances you can make at least. How many people have ever met 3,000 people in their entire life? You're in the top 1% of anyone out there meeting people. That's just in 1 year, you can do what it'll take you an entire lifetime. So why would you not want to take advantage of it? And you don't need to go out on Friday or Saturday. There's nothing you need to do. So,
That's the next level, yeah. I mean, when you think about not having to go out on the weekend, only if you want to, right? But you don't have to go. A lot of people feel like they have to because that's the only time to meet a lot of people and so on. That's not true. And it's true that if you all you do is plug yourself into one event and just start asking people what other events are good. They'll tell you. What other groups are you belong to? Oh, well, this other charity, everybody goes to this one. That other one sucks. You don't want to deal with that. And you'll find out all the information. It's like an encyclopedia of information. You just start asking people, and they will recommend everything. a lot of them are in multiple groups or multiple charities, and you'll start seeing the same people everywhere, as well as new people all the time. So there'll be a familiarity they have with you. You'll then know people everywhere you go, and it's awesome. And to think that you could go out even once a week, in the middle of the evening and not even stay out late. So you're not out like drinking 100 drinks. You're not doing anything. I mean, all the things that you would come up with as an excuse. I don't have time. I need my sleep. And the charity events we're talking about are not $150 charity events. They're like $10.
And you get a free drink with that, and they usually have food.
And so you're going to spend $10 anyway. So it's not anything that's super pricey. It's not thousands of dollars or anything. So only upside by just going in there and doing it. And I do understand that that's a challenge for some people, but good.
How do you build the connection? How do you take it to the next level? You add them as a Facebook friend, or?
You can say to them, you know what, I'm going out this weekend, I'm going out to some places, feel free to reach out to me and join. I mean, I think I just heard that all the time, right? Because you're going to see all these people out all the time, and just invite them somewhere. Just say, hey, I'm going with some friends, and they will, they'll go along and say, great, yeah, they may take your number, they may not, but you'll see them again. The great thing is because you go to these events, they're repetitive. They have them at least at least once a quarter, almost always. I mean, there's always an event for an organization at least once a quarter. So again, you're going to see this person most likely 4 times in a year, or even at least twice. They'll at least show up 50% of the time if someone likes an organization. So you're going to see them. Well, that's plenty of time, right? You just throw out invites, you say stuff, you can throw events. I mean, usually they have events too. So a lot of these organizations usually have some sort of gala event or something that you'll see people at as well. And you could throw, that's a great way too. I've done that before, where I've had a black tie event and I've thrown an unofficial after party.
Oh, we do that all the time.
Yeah.
We always throw unofficial after parties for major events.
It's great.
It almost becomes the official after party once people get ahead of it. We do it in Monaco all the time. We throw the official unofficial after party for the big charity event there, and everyone knows, and it's the thing to be at, but you can just do it. You just walk around and say, oh yeah, what do you guys got going on after this? Oh yeah, well, I'm hosting a little after party. You're welcome to come by, whatever. So that's a level. Also, to answer your question even more, something else you could do is if you know that there are things going on throughout the weekend, right? So we know that like tomorrow we're going to be at a place that has $10 margaritas. Hey, yeah, we're gonna. What's up for the weekend? Oh, guys, I think we're gonna be over at so and so for $10 margaritas. A bunch of us. Feel free to drop by. And so you're just inviting people along on your life. You're not, please come. I hope you make it. It's none of that. It's just, oh yeah, we're gonna be there. Stop by. Feel free to stop by and have a drink or whatever. And you're just inviting them along with stuff you're already doing. This is if you've done a little research, right? And you know that the Saturday daytime place is, and that's not hard to find out. You just ask around and do your research. You find out if that's the place, then that's how you take it to the next level. That's how you would increase the contact. In the same way, he was telling you also ways to do it. So there's many ways that you could, see them again or build a relationship more, whether it's a group of people or new friends, But I would definitely find out about more things on your own too, and then you can invite people to things.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
right? We're all going to be on the patio at Primo's on, Sunday for, dollar drinks or whatever it is. You feel free to drop by, Or I'm going to be there. You don't even have to have friends. You could just say, I'm thinking of dropping by there, so feel free to drop by. I'm probably going to be hanging out and gather some people together. I mean, you're trying to gather some people together.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
People show up and it's an instant party.
And there's no cost in doing that. I went to a really nice black tie event, and I was just walking around, and I'm like, yeah, there's the unofficial after party I'm throwing is at the Ritz. And I walked around like a huge influential party, and I walked around telling people, and I had other friends, and I'm like, hey, we're going to get together for an unofficial after party at the Ritz. Well, now they're telling all these people, and we had a huge group of people go over to the Ritz, and I was like, great, didn't cost me anything. But I moved the party somewhere because everyone wants to do something after the end of the parties.
Right.
And most of these events too all end at a certain time. Some of them go to 2, but a lot of them end at like 11 or 12. I'm like, what am I going to do, right? So you just pick a place that's close, and you can have your own party, and it costs you $0. Everyone likes it because they have something to do, and you just go out and do it. I mean, you could go to a charity event that's just a regular happy hour and go out and say, afterwards I'm going over to this place and invite people out. I'm like, oh, great, I'll stop on by or something else. And if you send it out to enough people, people will always show up. You'll at least get a few people to show up, and then you can do that, and it's easy. It costs you nothing. You can bring it up in every conversation. You don't have to have a plan. It can be just you going and nothing else, and people will show up and do it. And you get to see them. You can hang out and do whatever at that point, meet them, and then just take it from there.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
You know, the other thing, too, that I wanted to bring up about this when going out, because I find that people have too long of conversations with people. So, you know, my rule of thumb is I usually have conversation for people that I just met less than 5 minutes. It's usually 2, because really I don't have that much to say to them. I don't know them. You keep it light and fluffy. You ask some topics about that, and then you just move on, right? And I think that's really an important thing to do, because that's how you can meet a lot of different people. And why invest so much in some person you don't know? I'd rather meet 20 people than I'd rather meet one, because with 20 people, I may really find some people I have more in common with than just one. Again, it's living abundance versus scarcity, and manage it like that. And what people do, and what I've found, is that, you know, frequency of contact is more important than the length of time you speak to them. And that's really a key thing. So I've created a lot of relationship with people because I see them all the time, over and over again. And it gives them a sense that they know me better than they do, right? And so it happens all the time. So I know this works, and I know people consider me good friends who I don't even know, and I would walk up and they'll come to the party and say, "Hey, Jason, it's great to see you," and you know, and they'll tell people, "Jason's a really good friend of mine," and I don't even know these people.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I want to cut in here because I think that guys will say, "Well, how will people connect with you? There's no depth there if you're talking to them for 2 or 3 minutes." But my answer to that is that when you are connected and you realize you show up as this guy we're talking about, you do the inner work. That 2 to 5 minute conversation means more than every conversation they've had for an hour with someone they just met who's trying to connect, right? Oh, I have to stay in a half an hour because if I'm going to build relationships and rapport, and I've got to, if I'm together and be a good friend, I'm going to, get new friendships out of this. I got to really talk to these people and go deep and ask them about their work and find out about them so they know I'm interested. Even with another, guy as a male friend, you don't need to do that. You just think you need to do that, and what you're doing is you're shooting yourself in the foot. So that's why his example was powerful. Is that they think they've known him for a long time, and they think he's their really good friend, and he had a 2 to 5 minute conversation. But in that 2 to 5 minute, it wasn't. Jason's not looking over the shoulder at 8 other people. He's present. We're present in our conversation, so it means a lot to them. Because I think that's important to talk about a little bit, because I think that the length of contact is where guys get held up a little bit. There's got to be more, because I've got to get to know this person, and how will I build, my social life in this city if I don't really listen to people, go on and on for 25 minutes. You don't have to do any of that.
You don't need to have it. I mean, it's like talking to girls. A lot of guys out there thinking, oh, I need to talk to her for like 30 minutes because I'm going to tell her all this information because that's really going to win her over, and then that's going to seduce her, and then she's going to want to do this.
And she'll know I'm interested if I'm listening.
Yes,
exactly.
I'm
really into
and the
it.
more time I talk to her, the better it's going to be. The reality is that's all a lie. And I mean, it just is. There's no reason. I mean, you can do whatever you want quickly. I mean, it's all in your head,
That's
and
right.
you feel like you need, it's just like romance, and Brent's always talking about the fact that the romance is, the woman doesn't want it, the guy's doing it. And the only thing a woman wants is you to be thinking of her. Every woman will tell you, I want a guy to be thoughtful and thinking of me, but that's not doing all this romance. That's maybe if you're being nice to someone, or you're out, you're buying them a drink, or maybe saying, hey, you know what, that's a great necklace, or oh, it's awesome that you got some new shoes, or something like that. Even your friends making comments like that, that's a thoughtful guy. But what did that cost you? Nothing? How long did it take you? 5 seconds? I mean, you don't need to have these elaborate stuff going on. The smallest things will always go the longest.
I often just say, nice mask.
Yeah.
And if they're not wearing one, and they go, what mask? Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Here,
take it out?
This one.
Oh, I love it.
This is nice. This
It's
would look
really
nice on
mask. We should be doing this with masks on.
Well, this is the mask method. We're going to come out with
another
product. Yes.
Mask method.
Mask method, yes.
We'll only
And
do
it will be-
interviews and talk to people in seminars in masks.
Well, they'll have to
And
be
everyone
wearing
in the
masks,
audience, too.
or I clearly don't understand what anyone's saying
Exactly.
unless they're wearing a mask while they're saying it.
Exactly. Clearly the questions people ask, like, what are you saying? We don't understand.
They don't
What
understand.
language are you talking?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about earlier. We're talking to some girl, and like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're not making sense. Here, put this on. Now say it. Oh, yes.
That's hot.
It's completely clear to me now.
That's
yes.
sexy.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to need that mask
Yes,
back.
back.
Thank you. All right, great.
And then get to the next one. You can go through the whole night with one mask.
You could go around with one mask and keep using it over and over again and never even give it out. But
Never.
everyone will want it. You see, that's the thing.
Yes.
The less you give it out, when you take it back from them, girls are going to be following you trying to get the mask
Like,
from
I want
you.
my mask back.
Yeah, and they'll do anything for the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the mask method.
It
One
is.
part. I'm not really going to reveal any other secrets about that because we're going to come out with a whole thing on that mask method.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
so,
get through this.
So one other thing too, a great thing to think about is, really start to explore opportunities and places, not only meet people, but also creative things where you can do some interesting things at, right? So, there's places that have dollar mimosas. I mean, why not go out and buy, 50 glasses? I mean, you know what, that's next level. No one does that. And again, you always have to think, what can I do that 99% of guys won't do, right? So you get a bunch of your friends, you can get people out there, or you can do it yourself. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But if you do have a bunch of friends, I mean, this stuff doesn't cost you that much money. We're going to a place on Saturday and Sunday that is $6 carafes of mimosas, right? I go to this place all the time. I have never seen anyone buy like 10 carafes of mimosas. I mean, I know plenty of people there that have plenty of money that could buy 100.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't even care.
that's the thing. It's all doable, but no one does it.
Because they're fearful. There's a fear factor of thinking, I might stick out. Oh, what if I do this? What if that happens? I'm not going to go up to someone and just give them a mimosa. Like, how crazy is that? And people have all this resistance, but if you do it, you can meet a lot of people and have a great time and have fun going out. And the reality is, every time you go out, it's the same thing. So you need to find fun ways and inspire other people.
Yeah,
And
it's a form of escape, and you're helping them escape from their lives, and you're saying, hey, I'm all about, having some cocktails. You're welcome to join me. It's like, so you're not trying to buy friends, or you're not trying to get people to like you. That's not what this is about. It's part of this escape. It's part of, you're going to, and you're actually hosting an impromptu party at a place that you don't have to do anything except maybe, spend $20 on 20 glasses of champagne, or buy 10 carafes of $10 whatever margaritas, whatever, and spend $60 and do it yourself or among 2 or 3 friends. It's nothing. And boy, everyone wants to be your friend, and everyone wants to help. And it's not about you needing them to be your friend. It's about escape. It's about, all this is really connected to helping people break out of the matrix they don't even know they're in. So that's why anyone could do it, and just the visual of 10 carafes or 20 glasses of champagne all pushed together, it's so out of people's reality that they're so asleep that this wakes them up. That's really what it's about. So it's about helping them wake up and inspiring them to think differently.
Yes.
Right? Because we're always talking about thinking. That's what every program I have is about, thinking differently, getting out of the matrix, and getting away from that social programming. This is all part of that. So the buying of the drinks when you go to these places is about that. Like, snap people. Somebody have to smack them to wake them up. Telling them they're asleep isn't going to do anything. You've got to physically it's like shaking them, right? They look at that and they go, oh, that's cool. Someone's giving me a glass of champagne. How cool is that? You don't want anything in return, again. So we have this great vibe about us, but it works, and people love it, and they're inspired.
Yeah.
They really are.
It's fantastic. I love it. I think it's really great. I mean, you can do, again, Brent told me a story earlier on when he went to Vegas and you were going to get beers at that one hotel, or a place that you went there for like $1 or $5. You and a couple buddies that bought beers and started passing them back and paying.
Right. So this place had 25-cent draft beers, believe it. Okay. And then they went up after that over time to like 75 cents or something, but 25-cent drafts. We would go in there, and even if it was just 4 of us guys, we'd order 20 beers at a time. It was just faster that way, and we would hand them to people, and we would just stand there at the bar. We were 20 beers at a time. I mean, shit, when you think about it, it's like, what, a few dollars, right? But just the spectacle of it, number one, was awesome, because no one does it. They order like 5 beers, but not 20. So we'd sit there and we'd have them all lined up. We did this for so long that we went there on New Year's Eve once. We happened to be there, and in this bar, it was like, 7 deep at the bar, right? So you couldn't even get to the bar. But we go there so often and spend so much, I was going to say spend so much money, but it's not that we spent a lot of money. We ordered so many beers, they knew us. They thought it was comical because we've been doing it so often, that all I did was I just waved at the bartender, and I kind of yelled at him, I need 40 this time, right? I said something like that. So he immediately starts helping me, and I'm still kind of back, and he's pushing people out of the way so I can get up in the front. So I'm like, excuse me, I got to pick up my order. And so we get to the front. Rick and I are actually doing it, and we get to the front, and all these people. It's like I want to say maybe like a half hour till midnight. So it's afraid people are trying to get cocktails. They can't get them. They'll do anything for them. So we have 40 beers in front of us, and I just go, beers are $5. Everyone starts passing me $5 bills, $10, $20. We start passing out the beers. We made like $300 just standing there on buying. But that's a kind of a funny story. But we did that all the time.
Yep.
And that was one of the culmination of that story. But we did it constantly, and we would hand beers to people, just like no one hands someone a beer. And we didn't want anything from it. We were just having fun, just amusing ourselves, really.
Yeah. It's great.
It's awesome. So it breaks people out of the matrix. I think that's the point I wanted to make about that. In case you get it in your head that this is about getting something or wanting people to be your friend or buying their friendship. It's not. It has nothing to do with that. You're going to spend the money anyway on something like on lunch or whatever. So if you spend $20 on dollar champagne, I mean that helps people.
Believe it. And thinking differently is not just about going out and finding drink specials places. It's about throwing a party, right? So we're throwing this party this weekend. You know, Mardi Gras is a great party to throw because what is Mardi Gras? Mardi Gras is an escape. That word connects escape, partying, debauchery, just having a crazy time.
People have visuals of beads and girls taking off their tops and wearing masks and being someone they're not for once and just going crazy, going to the next level.
Yes.
Civilized debauchery is what I call it.
Yes.
Is what we're going to have.
And then you add on this champagne, right? And people love champagne. Well, you connected even just the concept of throwing a party. No one's ever thrown a champagne Mardi Gras party. But again, you have to be the guy who does it. You need to think out of the box. So then after that, okay, so you got a great theme, but now how do you do the party? So we're flying in a king cake from New Orleans, right? I mean, it's not that expensive, but who flies in a king cake from New Orleans for a party? I've never, maybe people have their house and do it, but who does a formal party does that,
Yep.
We've got stuff from Bourbon Street, masks and stuff that we're going to give out to people that people can take. Who does that to a party that actually calls a place on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, orders stuff and bring it in, right? We're getting hurricane mix from Pat O'Brien that you can order on the internet. Who makes hurricanes for an after party, right? No one does. I've never been to one. Also, who gets a suite like this and has an after party right at the hotel, the party downstairs? Again, no one does this, or it's extremely rare. And you add up all these things, you create an amazing environment. And then when you do stuff like introducing people to other people, which is a great thing that no one does.
Awesome.
I mean, that's like a great thing that you do at every party, and it breaks the ice because, people...
We'll be doing it all tomorrow night. We'll be introducing people as the hosts, and you guys will be hosting with us.
Yes, and you'll be doing it too.
All co-hosts, and we'll be saying, welcome to the party. Welcome to the party.
Introducing people. And it's a great thing.
People. Grab a cocktail,
Have fun.
Have fun. Here's a mask. I mean, and that's all you'll need to say, and they'll go crazy. And they'll start introducing. Have you met Tina and John? Have you met Joe? You guys should definitely meet and talk. You guys should get some cocktails right now, and it'll be
Create
a frenzy. Frenzy. I love that word. It's like kind of like a melee, right? Like it'll just build. It'll be incredible.
Build all night long. And the thing about it is that I do enough events and throw parties that the reason that introducing people to people is really powerful is that people need a few social interactions to basically reach the height of where they can get to socially. And I find that when the people don't, they stay in groups and they're not operating at their highest social place. And when they can operate at that place, they have more energy, they have a better time, it's infectious, and they'll meet people then on their own. So what you do is you create this whole frenzy where people are having a great time, they're operating at the peak of their social ability. And then when you take a step back and you ask people, so tell me about the greatest time you ever had in your life. No one talks about sitting in their bedroom all by themselves watching a movie. It's always with people, and it's always typically with a lot of people, like at a wedding, at some great bachelor party, or at some fun party they had in college, or something else. And they'll usually talk about a lot of people. And what you do is by introducing people to other people and meeting people, you take the best memory of their life and you're actually recreating the social interaction that they had at that point when you're with them. And so that's why people love to come to my events. I mean, there are people that spend a lot more money on than any I do.
Yeah.
They have, more elaborate things. I mean, everything.
But the parties are cold.
But the parties are cold.
And they're horrible, and people complain, and they stand around and do nothing, and these people will spend $50,000 on a party, and the party sucks.
Yeah.
We'll spend like $500 or $5 or whatever, comparatively, and people go, best time I've ever had. So it's about making your guests, being a gracious host, we've talked about a lot, making them feel comfortable, making the introductions for them so they can get past those first awkward moments since they're not generally that social.
Yes.
Helping them through that process and putting them together. I mean, you can revive kind of any party doing that.
Oh, you can do anything with that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how you take it to the next level all the time. And you can co-opt other parties too. So the other thing too is you can go to an events. I do this all the time and introduce people to people there at events. I introduce people I don't know at events. And that's the easiest place. That's the great thing about events too, is that you can meet a lot of people and introduce them to other people at these events that you don't even know. And it's even easier at that point because then you're connecting people and you're connecting people that you're going to see again for sure at different places. And you know, the great thing about that is you'll start to create friendships with people who run marathons together, people who get married, people who are best friends. I mean, you'll create all these things. And then people say, well, how'd you meet? Oh, I met through Jason. I mean, how powerful it is when you go out to people and they say, how did you meet? Oh, yeah, great. Or I ran a marathon and, oh, how'd you meet your marathon partner? Oh, Jason introduced me at one of the parties, right? So you get all this social proof from people doing stuff by doing these things. And that's how you create this frenzy when you're at events, whether it's your event or someone else, that no one else can do and that no one will do. I have never gone to any other place where people introduce me to other people other than they've seen me do it so often now that they start introducing me to other people, but they won't introduce other people to other people as much. They just learn what I'm doing and they see it. So actually another benefit is that now people will introduce me to people a lot quicker because they know I do it all the time. And so they see me and they're not even thinking about it, but they'll go up to a next person, they won't do that. So you have this great social life you create by doing these things.
And it's so powerful, and it's next level, and no one does it. And the comment I get whenever I travel, no matter where, you can do it anywhere is my point. Well, part of my point was you can do it anywhere in any city. And everywhere I travel, I hear the same thing, or a version of the same sentence, which is, wow, we've never seen a party like that. You guys are amazing. That was incredible. You know, like the Zaza has never seen the type of parties that we host. How is that possible? If you think about it, how is it possible? They've got these beautiful suites. They've got a killer hotel.
Rock stars stay here.
Rock stars stay here.
Britney Spears. I mean, you're talking about people with endless amount of money. Money where money is no object at all.
And no one has ever, I get it over and over again. I hear it in Monaco year after year. The first time they told me that in Monaco, I said, what do you mean? How long have you worked here? He goes, oh, I've been here for like 25 years. And I said, but don't doesn't royalty stay here? And all these, yeah, everybody stays here, but we've never seen anything like that. I was like, really? Seriously? People don't party like that? You know, and he's like, no, they don't do that. That's amazing. And he was just talking about how much fun people were having and the level of hosting, where we were really hosting and we were introducing people and we were doing stuff, and because they were clearly bringing more ice to the room for the champagne and stuff, and what they saw was like something they'd never seen before. And that's really interesting because, and I think that's a good point, that's how rare this is, and that's how knowing this information is valuable. I mean, like, because no one's going to do it even if they know the information. That's the thing. A lot of guys won't even take action on it anyway. So if you take action, you will be probably the only one that you know.
Yeah.
And imagine that.
Yeah.
So it's not like a bunch of guys running around with this information who are going to be party throwers now or host parties because, you know,
no one does it anyways. Even I could give people this information out and I could tell them anything. And
most people don't do anything.
They don't
no matter
do
what
anything.
it is, right?
No.
Like, whatever it is. There's a million pieces of information on how to do everything on the internet, but people still have problems. People are still overweight. They're still about knowledge isn't enough. It's action.
Not.
You've got to take. So whatever insights you have from information that we give you like this, the important thing and the next step is to take action. Take action. And commit to it and hold yourself accountable to taking action in a very small way if you want to. Something really small, a step in the right direction. Introduce one person to another, start there.
Goes a long ways.
But this stuff is so powerful that this is And it's simple. I think that's the other thing we should end on is it's simple, fun, and easy. This is not difficult. So, guy who will say, yeah, well, but I'm not social. I'm shy. Yeah, I don't want to do that stuff. Sounds like a lot of work. It's not. You're telling yourself that, and it looks like maybe it's a lot of work from other things you've seen, but it's simple, fun, and easy.
It's easier than what you're doing right now.
That's right.
And it's a lot less time, it's less money, and less effort.
You know how to be efficient, which is why we make these products, is, telling you how to do it more efficiently, how to kind of step over the potholes, and not have to do all the things that we did when we were trying to learn it and making all the mistakes.
And the powerful thing too is that you are helping people. You're inspiring people around it. And even another level beyond that, you are changing people's lives for the better around you. Every person that interacts with you will come away, even if it's in a moment, creating a great time for them. I mean, a lot of times, just going out, people have bad days, horrible things going on in their life, and you take away that sadness, that depression, that horrible thing that's going on, and you give them even a moment of happiness. That's extremely powerful. But for other people, you will change the course of their life, I mean, you will, by interacting with them, and this will happen all the time because I see this, and then that's a powerful state where you're giving to people and you're an agent of change out there. Regardless of what goes on with you, that's a powerful state to live in, is you're an agent of change and you're really making people's lives a lot better, as well as making your life incredibly less complex, less stressful, less drama, less difficulty, less money being spent, just everything else. There's a huge byproduct out there that is about other people just coming around you. And that's why this stuff's so powerful and why it works.
Yeah, if you want to conquer your shyness and your nervousness and your approach anxiety, this is the way to do it, because there isn't any anxiety attached to giving and helping, only to wanting to get. That is where it is. That's why you're shy, because you're afraid. You fear. You're in fear. You're living in fear. You have approach anxiety because you're scared, right? That's because you want something and you want to get something. So when you change it to giving and helping and just making people's lives better, that stuff disappears. So even if you've been shy your whole life, it absolutely disappears. The moment that you give all that up and you change all the reasons you do everything and you change it to helping, all of that goes away. So if you're helping someone, why would you be afraid to approach them and help them, right? If you want something from them, then that's scary, right? You want something, so it's kind of scary. I might not get it. And then what will happen, and what will that mean? I'm going to kind of go sulk in a corner somewhere. But if I'm helping, I'm energized, I'm confident, I'm courageous. I'm there and I'm helping. And you can see the change immediately in people, and that just gives you more energy to keep doing the same thing. So all that stuff will just disappear, all of your anxiety, because there won't be any, there's no room for it in helping. It doesn't exist within that. And you're living outside the matrix, and none of that stuff exists outside the matrix anyway. So, and you're living proof that is possible. And those people are saying, how is it possible to be that carefree and help people? So maybe I'll go out and start helping some people.
Yes.
Right? And that's the world you want to live in.
And the easiest way to go out and just start this is going up to the next person you see and ask them, how's everything? If the only first question and first thing you said to people for the rest of your life was, how's everything? That would change your entire life. That would put you on a path. If you never did anything else and that's all you did, you will be on a path and you incorporate these philosophies. Guys always ask, well, how do you get started on this? What do you say when you go out? I want to say the right thing. How do I do this? If you go up and say, how's everything, and that's all your first introduction is when you meet people, you will be extremely successful, because no one asked that question, and it's an easy question for people to answer.
It's 2 words.
2 words.
It's very simple.
Very simple. It's not complex.
People will tell you everything.
They will.
People will tell me, yeah.
I understand the part about having anxiety from wanting something, and being worried you won't get it. Makes sense. How about the fact of giving to give, having anxiety that I don't have much to offer?
Well, that's where the inner work comes in. That's part of your inner work about your whole life, is that I deserve everything. I'm worthy. I'm worth it. I have high worth. I'm confident. I'm capable, confident. I have a lot to offer. So that's in your story. That's where that would come in. So that's how you would deal with that worry about not being good enough or not having enough to offer, or who am I, to give them something. Like, why would they want it from me? Like, who am I? I'm some stranger. Like, so you gotta think that, remember that you are the source. You tell everyone how to treat you with your vibe, even more than your words. So if you approach them and they've never seen you before, they don't know who you are, in that moment, they're going to decide how to treat you. And if you have low self-esteem, that's how they're going to treat you. If you have high self-esteem and you're there to help and give, and you believe that you can and that you do, and that you're worth it and you're confident and you're just helping people, they're going to get that and they're just going to go with it.
So the story would be, what I have to offer is great and I'm a confident person.
Yeah. Yeah, I have wonderful things to offer, and everyone loves what I have to offer, and they welcome it, and they're smiling when they do it, and they're excited and inspired. And then visualize that, walking up to some strangers and having them turn and say, "Hey, how are you doing? You know, what's going on?" And they're welcoming you. Get that image into your head, that visual of them doing that over and over and over. Never visualize any more bad experiences, only the positive ones, and you'll carry that with you. Because remember, if you do it enough in your head, it's like you did it for real. And so that'll be who you are. It'll become who you are. And when you walk in as that guy, people will take their cues from you. Humans don't want to spend all their time trying to figure people out. They don't give a shit. They want to do it in 3 seconds. They want to go, it's like fight or flight, right?
Right.
They'll size you up. They want to just size up. Is this guy a threat or is he a friend? They don't want to spend a million hours doing that. They just want to know, and it all comes from you. All comes from you. You're the source. They're not the source of being critical. You are.
Yep.
So anyway, hope that helps. All right.
I think we're
Anything else? Okay, guys.
That time.
So hope you enjoyed our little talk, a little mini kind of seminar on Jumpstart Your Social Life. So,
onward to the party.
Onward to the party. And get out there and start meeting people, introducing them, and building your social life.